And joining us now on the Book Talk segment, great to welcome a man who's written a very interesting book. It's called Flip the Pyramid, How Any Organization can Create a Workforce that is Engaged, Aligned, Empowered, and on Fire. We're joined by Greg Slamowitz today from the great city of New York. And Greg, good to talk to you. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on the air this day.
Yeah, good to have you. Whether we like to have folks that write business-oriented books on from time to time, because I think now more than any time in the last 20, 25 years, people are changing their lives in the workforce, some by choice, some not by choice, and companies are changing the way they operate. And you kind of write about how a lot of companies could use this format that you talk about to maybe make things a little bit better. Was that the impetus for the book?
Sure, absolutely. And what I describe is a business methodology that really allows you to get the best out of every single employee. And I spend time starting out talking about being a micromanager. And unfortunately, too many people are micromanagers. And if you're a micromanager, you will not get the best out of your employees. In fact, what will happen is they will first mentally disengage. And then secondly, they will physically disengage and leave your organization. But the damage is done before they actually quit. The damage is done once they mentally disengage. And so, based on my experience in growing my company, I figured out what you need to do to get people engaged in an aligned way and getting them to really contribute to your journey.
I've never really understood that whole micromanaging way of handling your employees. I took business in college. I never heard that term as in any of the books that's where you're supposed to do it. But so many managers go that way. I guess they figure maybe they know better, and their employees, if you do what I say, it's going to be better. Is that where that comes from?
Absolutely. And so what happens is that you're the smartest person in the room. You're telling your employees what to do. You start micromanaging them on a day-to-day basis. And if you do have any social or emotional intelligence, you will know that it's not right. Now, if you know it's not right and you simply stop micromanaging, you really run the risk that your employees will not know what to do. And it will be like cats, and everybody will go in a different direction. So it's not simply to stop micromanaging, it's this organizational construct that you have to build.
Yeah, you have seven different components as you outline in the book, and maybe we can just do briefly a couple of them. We don't have time to do all of them, but I guess you start off with a constitutional framework. Can you explain that?
Absolutely. And so you have to stop micromanaging, and you have to build what I call your constitutional framework. And the constitutional framework has some really key components, core values. You have to not only define your organization's core values, but every single person in your company has to know what they are, know what they mean, know the stories behind those core values. And what you're beginning to do is enter into a social compact with all of your employees. I'm not going to micromanage you, but you will not stray outside of these behavioral boundaries. And that has to be sacrosanct. You can't turn a blind eye. You have a star performer who operates outside of your core values. You have to fire that person. It's really important that everybody believes in these core values. So that's a real key component. The other real key component, goals. You need totally transparent, objectively measurable, annual and quarterly goals. And basically you're telling everybody, I'm not going to micromanage you. You're going to tactically execute within our behavioral boundaries, and everything you do is going to be intended to move us towards our annual and quarterly goals.
You talk in the book, kind of related to the company values and goals, really the interview process for getting employees in there. I think a lot of people, a lot of companies probably drop the ball there, don't they? They don't fully make clear what their values are, and maybe they bring in an employee that doesn't have what they want, and that causes problems, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you have to build this organizational construct, this constitutional framework that provides everybody with guidance. But then the real key is putting awesome human capital into this organizational framework. And you need both. And you have to be very, very upfront and transparent with people what your values are and what your culture is like. And you want people to understand that, and you need them to say, yes, up front, I agree to those values and that culture and those goals.
You talk about tribal culture, that's the term you use in the book. That's what that's about, right?
Absolutely. And you need to build a strong tribal culture. We are tribal animals, and we want to belong to a strong tribal culture that we can identify with, and we want to be part of a journey. We want to know what that journey is, and we want to know that we can have an impact every day in moving the organization towards that goal in a very tribal, communal manner. And as a leader of an organization, I think you have an obligation to deliver that tribal experience to each and every employee.
Now, you know better than I do, Greg. A lot of businesses, they get set in their ways. Maybe you have some, old school ideas, and we're in a new era now, I think, with the way people work. A lot of people work out of their homes, maybe telecommute. You think this is going to be difficult to get implemented, or do you think people are pretty accepted to this?
And a really good question. So there are a lot of companies out there that are doing what I talk about, and these companies have been growing. These are the stronger companies. So if you want to be competitive, you must go down this road and deliver an awesome experience to each and every employee. Else you're just going to fall behind.
The name of the book is called Flip the Pyramid. We've been talking with Greg Slamowitz today. And Greg, I wish we had more time to kind of get into it, but I think we touched on it enough. I think the people out there are interested enough to hopefully get a copy of the book. Give out a website if you have one, or where they can get the book.
Absolutely. You can visit www.gregslamowitz.com, or you can go to Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, or iTunes to purchase the book.
I'll just spell your last name is Slamowitz, so people can check that out as well. And Greg, I think it's a great idea, just from someone who's kind of done a lot of reporting and talking to people in business. I think you got something here. I think it's not the same way. I mean, everything evolves, and businesses have evolved in the way that they operate. And I think this is something that people should take a look at. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, sir.